Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to the channel for John Campea's Open Mic, the show where turn it over to you. What do you guys want to talk about? What are your burning questions, your big hot topics? What are the things that you think we should be discussing here? That's what Open Mic is all about. Now, there are two different ways you can get a question or topic on Open Mic. First of all, the non-live way. Like if you want to send in a question when the show is not on and not live, you can send one in anytime 24/7 at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. You can send one in there. Or if you are right now watching the show live, you can send in a topic or question using the super chat feature. And that is currently open right now. You can go in there and send in a thought, theory, comment, whatever. And if we deem the thought, theory, comment, or question appropriate to be used on our show, we will read it off and discuss it here. Good to have you guys here joining us today. Hello to everybody who's already in the live chat. And before we get going, a little story broke on Variety that I thought might be a good idea for us to address. Now, of course, Flash is on the way, right? And what's the exact release date again? I keep forgetting. It's in a couple of weeks.
16th.
June 16th. So it's 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks away. I've seen the film. It's fantastic. It is truly fantastic. Now, all film is subjective, so I can't guarantee you're going to like it, but all I know is that I and everybody that I know who has seen The Flash, ain't one of them has said, nah. I mean, like everyone that I know who has seen it has loved this movie. It's terrific. And you know what? Ezra Miller is great in the movie. Really is. I mean, I've enjoyed Ezra Miller's performance as Barry since, first appeared. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Ezra Miller fan per se, but Ezra Miller, in my opinion, has been a great Flash and does an absolutely incredible job in this movie. They really do. Really, really do. However, I've also been, as an individual, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm not trying to get anybody else to agree with me. I'm not trying to get anybody else to do as I do. I'm just telling you, for me, I've been very clear that with all the nonsense Ezra's gotten themselves into, Ezra cannot continue to play the Flash after this. Now, I don't hold all of Ezra's nonsense, and it's too long of a laundry list for us to go into here. But I don't hold all of Ezra's nonsense against Warner Brothers or against this movie, because the new ownership of Warner Brothers, they inherited this problem, right? All this stuff was happening under AT&T, and AT&T never refused to do anything about it. But with this movie in particular, what a lot of people seem to forget was that the vast majority of all the nonsense that Ezra did happened after they shot the movie. I see all these stupid comments out there. Well, how come so-and-so gets fired from the movie, but they kept Ezra Miller? Well, because they shot the movie already. They shot the movie already when most of the stuff that Ezra did. Right? So I have never held it against this movie. I've always thought, look, the stuff happened before. I mean, the stuff happened after they shot the movie. I don't blame Warner Brothers. The movie turned out great. I'm excited for the movie. I can't wait for people to see it. And I think Ezra did a great job. But make no mistake, Ezra should never play Flash again. Should never be allowed to play Flash again. And when the question came up to James Gunn and Peter Safran a while ago, asking them, hey, you're going to recast Ezra's Flash moving forward? They said the exact answer a studio head should say right now before their movie comes out. Right now, Ezra's totally focused on getting better. And our thoughts are with Ezra. As Ezra just focuses on getting better, we'll make those decisions later. Because what you don't do as a studio head right now is come out and say, before your movie even comes out, oh yeah, we're recasting that dude. Ezra's out. Because then that's the story, right? The story isn't Flash. The story isn't Michael Keaton's great, re-portrayal of Batman. The story isn't how exciting the film is or how wonderful of a job Andy Muschietti did. No, the story would be DC announces they're getting rid of Ezra Miller. And then why would people come see the movie? It was the perfect answer to give. Right now, we're just thinking about Ezra, and Ezra's just focusing on getting better. We'll worry about that other stuff later. Absolute textbook. It's exactly what you should say. Well, now the director of the film, Andy Muschietti, who did an amazing job directing this film. This is not Ezra Miller's movie. Some people try to, well, Ezra's a star. Doesn't matter one nugget of shit that Ezra Miller is the star of the film. It is not Ezra Miller's film. This is Andy Muschietti's film. Ezra Miller is a hired hand. A very good, talented, gifted hired hand who came in to do a job. All the words that come out of Barry's mouth did not come from Ezra Miller. They came from this guy. Everything that happens in the film is under the direction and the orchestration, the maestro, Andy Muschietti. It's this guy's movie. This guy's movie is Flash. However, Andy just said something real stupid. Really stupid. I love this guy. I love this guy, and I love the job he just did with Flash. But he just said something real stupid. In Variety, a story came out about 2 hours ago with this headline. Jonathan, you got there? The Flash director, that's Andy Muschietti, won't recast Ezra Miller in a potential sequel. No one can play that character as well as they did. This is exactly what is said. This is in the Variety article here. Ezra Miller will continue being the Flash as long as director Andy Muschietti is involved with the Warner Brothers superhero franchise. During an interview on the Discourse podcast, Muschietti said that he has no plans to recast Miller despite the actor's history of legal troubles and alleged abuse. If a sequel happens, yes, Muschietti said, about having Miller back as Flash. I don't think there's anyone that can play the character as well as they did. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they are just excelled in doing it. And as you said, the two Barrys, it feels like a character that was made for them. All right. I'm going to talk about one thing I agree that he said and two things that I think are really stupid. The one thing that I agree is how great Ezra Miller is in this movie. Really is. I will never take that away from Ezra Miller. And wait till you see it. Ezra does fantastic. Really does. And you can tell in the trailers, there are two Barrys. And they are the same person, yet they are different from each other. And Ezra Miller plays them both great. Really, really good. Yeah. The dancing part,
every time I watch that part where he's walking,
where the younger Barry's dancing across the street.
Dancing like
it's so funny. And it's so good. So funny and so good. On that, I completely agree with Andy. 100% do I agree with Andy. But then there are two stupid things they say. I'm going to start with the less egregious. All right. The less egregious thing that Andy Muschietti says is something that film fans say all the time. And I think it's really dumb when any film fan, including myself, I'll look back on something I said and go, oh, that was really dumb what I said. This idea that there is nobody that can play the character as well as Ezra did. That's bullshit. Come on. That's nonsense. And whenever you hear film fans say it, and I've been guilty of saying it too, we all are, but it's dumb, right? Do you guys know this story? Do you know Harrison Ford was not supposed to be Indiana Jones? Supposed to be Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck, Magnum PI himself, was cast, hired, done. Going to be Indiana Jones. And in case you didn't know the story, what happened was then there was a scheduling conflict because he had already signed up to be Magnum PI and CBS wouldn't let him out of that contract. And so Tom Selleck had to go on and be at Magnum PI. And by the way, that worked out just fine for Tom Selleck. So George Lucas had to turn to Old Faithful, Standby. He had to go to Harrison Ford, who portrayed for him in, what's the car movie he did again? American Graffiti?
American Graffiti.
Who was in American Graffiti and played for him in that little Star Wars movie he did. Now, had Tom Selleck played the role of Indiana Jones, Tom Selleck would have been great. And I'm sure us dumb movie fans, we would have said, no one could ever be Indiana Jones other than Tom Selleck. That's what we'd be saying. We would be saying that today. that no one could play Indiana Jones. Well, little did we know, actually, somebody else would have been an even better Indiana Jones. We just didn't see that guy. We saw this guy. And whenever somebody says, nobody could play that role as well as this person, no, it's just that that's the person you saw. And that person did a great job, but don't for a second believe that that means there was nobody out there that could have done as well, maybe even better. So this notion that only Ezra Miller, and remember, I'm saying this as a guy who thinks Ezra Miller is fantastic in this role. Absolutely fantastic. But as somebody who believes Ezra Miller is fantastic in this role, you bet your ass they can find somebody else that can do it just as well.
John, do you think this is a work? Like,
I'll get to that in a second.
When he says this, people are be like, he does play the best Flash? I'm going to go see this movie.
Okay, I'm going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
About the possible, what are the possible motivations?
Yeah. I kind of thought the same.
I get to that in a second.
Okay.
Get to that in a second. So I think that thing saying that nobody could play this other than Ezra Miller, that's stupid. That's just plain stupid. All right. Then there's the big stupid thing. Saying as long as I'm here, as long as I'm sheriff, Ezra's my deputy.
He didn't say that.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
In quotes
Pretty
somewhere?
sure that's exactly what Andy Muschietti said.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he said it just like that.
It's on record.
He's on record. There's no getting away from it now. So saying that as long as I'm involved here, Ezra will not be recast. Okay. Well, you're an idiot.
Aw.
And then you've lost me. Yeah. I will never, ever watch another thing that Ezra is playing Flash again. No, don't get me wrong. 7 years pass, therapy happens, some accountability is taken, all that kind of stuff. And then Ezra, 7 years down the road, makes a return. You know what? I love a good comeback story. I love a good comeback story.
So does Chris Pratt.
So I was just thinking the exact same thing. I knew you were going to say that.
That's a little too tense.
Go look it up. You don't know what Ray's talking about. Go look it up on you. Go look up Chris Pratt comeback story. You'll see what Ray is talking about there. I mean, but seriously, I love a good comeback story. But if like you do in 3 years from now, guess what? Ezra's back as Flash. I'm out. Now, I'm sure right now Warner Brothers is trembling in their boots. Oh no, John Campea says he won't watch our movie. Whatever shall we do? I mean, obviously they don't give a shit, and nor should they. I'm just saying for me personally, I'm not saying other people shouldn't. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying for me personally, as much as I love DC, as much as I love James Gunn and Peter Safran running the things, as much as I love Andy Muschietti, I'm done. I'm not going to watch a single fucking thing they put Ezra Miller in as Flash again. As long as there's no accountability that's come out, as long as there's been no rehabilitation, as long as there's been no road back, I'm out. And again, I'm sure Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit that one little idiot on some nothing YouTube channel is saying, I won't watch your movies again. I'm sure they don't care. But I'm just saying for me personally, that the whole franchise is dead to me.
There's probably a couple of people that feel the same way as you.
I'm sure there are a few.
What? It's
I'm sure
1,
there are a few.
2, 3, and that's still business. I mean, I'm pretty sure they take that into account anyway.
Look, and I'm sure I'm not alone.
Right,
but I mean, I'm not one of these pathetic, let's organize a boycott. I'm not one of those. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying for me, I'm out. Right? You do that, I'm out. I don't blame you for having Ezra in this movie because you shot the movie before most of the nonsense happened. You can't be blamed for that. So yeah, all good. And give credit where it's due. Ezra's great in the movie. Absolutely Ezra is great in this movie. I love Ezra in this movie. But yeah, if you do that, they're done. Now, okay. So let's move on to what's the motivation here. Why is Andy Muschietti saying this? There are a couple of possibilities. Let's start with the worst one. The worst possibility is it's exactly what it says it is. Andy Muschietti is saying that if he's back to direct another Flash movie, then Ezra's still Flash. And that is the worst case scenario. That being said, there could be a couple of other motivations here. And I think we need to keep these in mind. Motivation number one, Andy Muschietti knows full well that there's not going to be a Flash sequel.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm not saying there won't be another Flash sequel, but let's say Andy Muschietti knows there's not going to be a Flash sequel.
That's what I think.
Then Andy Muschietti is just promoting the movie, right? Andy Muschietti is playing the PR game. Saying, oh, Ezra's so good in this, no one other than Ezra could play this role. Woo, you better buy your tickets for June 16th. Come on out and watch as Hulk Hogan wrestles Andre the Giant. Come on out, June 16th.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
June 16th. Bow, 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 bow. Come on out and see the thing. Ezra Miller brings the house down. Nobody can play it as well as Ezra.
Dun, 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 dun. Parade around the universe.
Exactly, right? So
we
number
all
one,
snapped
Andy
here.
Muschietti says, as long as I'm back, if I'm there, because listen, again, listen to the exact wording here that Muschietti says. If a sequel happens, yes, Muschietti said about having Miller back as Flash. I don't think it, so sure. But if Muschietti already knows that there's not going to be a sequel, then he can say that all he wants. Okay, so possibility number one, worst case, he said exactly what he meant. Possibility number two, he knows. My watch keeps talking to me. Ezra knows, or Andy Muschietti says, if there's a sequel, well, then maybe they already know there's not going to be a sequel. Possibility number three, Andy Muschietti is pulling a Ben Affleck at Comic-Con. Now, you guys remember this. Just a couple of years ago, I was the first person to break that Ben Affleck was done as Batman and wasn't going to be Batman in the new Matt Reeves Batman, all that kind of stuff. And nobody believed me. Even when the Hollywood Reporter put out a story that backed it up, nobody believed me. And then Comic-Con came up and I told people, well, they're not going to admit that Ben Affleck is out as Batman before this new movie comes out. And sure enough, Ben Affleck got on stage at Comic-Con and said, I'm still Batman, and I'll do anything for Matt Reeves to be in Batman. He literally said, and I quote, I'll walk on all fours like an ape for Matt Reeves' Batman. Woo! I can't wait to play Batman. When later we found out that Ben had already known that he was out as Batman and wasn't going to be in Matt Reeves' thing, but to promote the movie, Ben Affleck was a professional, said whatever it is that needed to be said, and promoted the film and didn't let anything distract. So there is a possibility here that Andy Muschietti knows full well that he's not bringing Ezra Miller back. But for now, you pretend like nobody can play it other than Ezra. You sell the movie.
Can I add something to the sequel question too?
Yeah.
Like, there's been a couple people who've written in before that have said, why do I have to go see this movie if there's if they're gonna reboot it anyways?
Well, that's a totally separate topic.
No, but like, let's say this Flash movie. So there's some people out there that think, oh, nothing's gonna happen after this one. Why do I need to watch it when they're doing something new?
So
later
it
on?
leads people on to think,
there could be there's that angle.
You
It's a
could be
very small
planting
angle.
that seed.
Yeah.
Again, I hate that. By the way,
I know you hate that. I know
hate
you
that
hate
argument
that.
when people say, "Why should I watch it? There's not going to be a sequel." I don't know. Why did you watch Goodfellas? There's no sequel to Goodfellas. Do you tell people don't watch Goodfellas because there's no sequel? I hate that.
Yeah.
But so, number one, he meant what he said. Number two, Andy already knows there's not going to be a sequel. Possibility number three, he's just promoting the movie, playing the good game. Possibility number four, he's saying as long as I'm there, Ezra's going to stay Flash. Maybe Andy knows he's not directing the Flash sequel, right? So he can say this. It's safe to say because he already knows he's not directing a sequel. Maybe James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to have Andy direct something else. The fourth possibility says this now, and then later they will pull out what's the old faithful scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not available.
He's not available, right? Oh, yeah, I had my heart set on bringing Ezra back, but wouldn't you know those darn scheduling conflicts? Ezra's not available when we're shooting. What's Ezra doing? I don't know, ordering McNuggets. Whatever it is, scheduling conflicts will keep them out. Possibility number five. You can say this knowing that as the heads of the studio, James Gunn and Peter Safran will fall on the sword and say, look, Andy really wanted to bring Ezra back, but we had to make the tough decision that the best thing for our property, the best thing for our franchise, and the best thing for Ezra is for us to move on without Ezra as Flash. So Andy Muschietti can come out and say all this, right? Promote the movie, only Ezra can play Flash, blah, 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 knowing full well that he and James Gunn and Peter Safran have already worked out that he can say all that now, and then later James Gunn and Peter Safran will be the heavies. They'll come in and say, oh, hey, we're sorry, Andy. We know you really wanted Ezra back, but we as the studio heads needed to make a decision. And then Andy will go, darn, I really wanted Ezra back, or whatever, right? So there's a lot of possibilities here because, like Ray worded it, this very well could just be one giant work, right? It's just because we've seen Warner Brothers do it before. Just look at what happened with Ben Affleck. It was all a work. Oh, run around on all fours to be Batman when he already knew he was out. And I think there's a possibility that's what's happening here. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm guessing.
I'm afraid this might also go backfire on him and like make people not, you know what I mean? Like, I hope this doesn't backfire. It's a good movie.
Because people are forgiving. Because people are forgiving of it, knowing it's his last. But now, if you're saying he's coming back, then we're like that. You mean?
Yeah.
You know what? I hate bringing it up because I know there's a lot of Kobe Bryant fans. So, but
there's looking at one.
There's a joke on Family Guy that I think represents this situation very well.
Say it, man.
Right?
No.
But it's a joke, but I think it represents the situation well. In Family Guy, you know, they do the cutaways, the quick cutaways. And they cut away to, it's a police interrogation room and Kobe Bryant's sitting down. There's two cops. And the cops say to Kobe, be honest with us, Kobe, did you rape that girl? And Kobe doesn't say anything, just pulls out a basketball, spins it on his finger, and the cops go, ooh, what are we here for again? And there is a train of thought that audiences are so dumb, and let's be honest, sometimes we are. Audiences are so dumb that they won't care. As long as Ezra's good as Flash, Ezra can do whatever they want, and we won't care. And maybe there's an argument to be made there that that's what the studios are counting on. I mean, I like to think they're not, but you never know.
Court of popular opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so this could get real interesting and real ugly. Anyway, guys, I'm sure many of you probably have your own thoughts. What do you think about this? What do you think about what Andy Muschietti just said? Are you excited about The Flash? I'm telling you, all the noise aside, this is a great movie. This is a real good movie, and it deserves to be seen. And we deserve to not have Ezra Miller as the Flash anymore moving forward. If you've got thoughts, go ahead and send them in, and we'll address them here in just a little bit. Now, look, we are going to go over and take now your comments. And I went on long about that. I'm sorry. Yeah. This is a big deal to me because I love this movie, but I feel pretty strongly about this. And whatever. But before we do, though, we're going to take just a quick second here. We're going to thank one of the sponsors of our show. Then we're going to come back and start getting into your questions. We want to thank the good folks at ExpressVPN. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Guys, it is 2023, and online privacy and security has never been more important. You see, every device, phones, computers, tablets, has a unique IP address, which is like an internet phone number and reveals personal information about you. It's super simple for somebody online who knows what they're doing to find your IP address. If you've ever clicked on a sketchy link or opened an email from somebody you don't know, your IP address could become exposed. Now that's where ExpressVPN has your back. ExpressVPN is an app that hides your real IP address and replaces it with a dummy one, keeping you safe and private. And you don't have to be some kind of techie to use a VPN. Guys, it is so easy to use. Just download the ExpressVPN app on your phone or computer, tap one button to turn it on, and you're protected. And if you like your streaming entertainment, here's the coolest part. They let you choose what country you want your IP address to look like it's coming from. This is incredibly useful because services like Netflix and Disney Plus give you different shows depending on what what country you're in. So secure your family's online activity and unlock tons of new shows by visiting expressvpn.com/Campea. Use my link and you can get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. And thank you to our friends at ExpressVPN for sponsoring this episode of Open Mic. All right, that down, guys. Let's get to it here and get to your thoughts, theories, opinions, and questions. Jonathan, what are we starting off with?
Okay, we've got Dante Serecchia who writes, "Hi, John. After Monday's discussion about voice actors being considered for physical role awards like Best Actor or Best Supporting, do you think it's time to simply make a new category for the Academy Awards called Best Voice Performance?"
One of the things that I would often, like, some people would ask, should there be a category for Best Motion Capture Performance? And I'm like, probably not, because it's too limited. Like, every movie has a director, so there's thousands of potential nominees, right? But you got to make sure it's a category that would have enough people. But with just Best Vocal Performance, you're talking mo-capped characters, CGI characters, you're talking animated voice performers. I think you do have enough of a base to draw from there to do that. So yeah, personally, like, first, SAG would have to recognize it. The Screen Actors Guild would have to recognize it first. But once they do, yes, I think that should be, I think vocal performance. So whether you're the voice of a robot in a live action movie or the voice of a CGI character in a live action movie or the voice in an animated movie, I do think that could be the next Academy category. All right, what's next?
All right, Jesse Has a Turtle writes, "My favorite thing about switching to Spotify for the show is that I can listen to you on my headset on Xbox while I'm gaming since
Nice.
there's a Spotify app. Just wish I could do that with all your videos. Any plans to add open mics and stuff on there also?"
Do we not have an open mic podcast feed on Spotify?
No, it's just SoundStack right now.
Oh, so
'Cause
we
Spotify. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we do have a open mic podcast feed, which you can get on almost any podcasting app of choice that you have. I don't think we've added to Spotify, but Spotify might have it just by default. You might want to go and check that, but if it's not there, we'll correct that soon. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Tauhidor Rizak. "Hi, John. Did Anne get funding for her PhD, or are you paying for it? When I got mine a few years back in EE, PhDs were fully funded." Well, that's not like here. "Wondering if funding is hard to come by now due to bad economy."
So, I pay for Anne's education because it's a great investment for us, right? It's just a good investment. So, although I'm not going to lie, I kind of like, Anne has 3 degrees already, and she comes, "I want to get another master's." "So you want a 4th degree?" "Yep." "Okay." That's not cheap. And then she was like, "Okay, now I want a doctorate." I'm like, "All right."
Dang, talk about Anos. It's not Thanos. It's Anos.
Anos.
She's collecting all those stones.
All them degrees. She's going to have all the degrees in her
Each and every
degree
one.
gauntlet.
She'll hook me up with
Yeah,
one, hopefully.
she's already got 4.
Yeah, I don't think degrees work that way. I don't think you can gift degrees.
It's about
Come on,
who you
Ann,
know,
look it up.
Jonathan. It's about who you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I pay for degrees because then later she can pay for everything because she's going to be Dr. Ann here pretty soon. All right, what's next?
All right, Luke, 1, 2, 3, 4. "On Vudu and Prime, some movies are $3.99 to rent, $7.99 to buy, and they aren't on sale. Others are $3.99 and $14.99 to buy. Who decides the purchase prices?"
I believe the distributor does. Like whoever's distributing the movie sets the prices. I believe they probably do that in consultation with the exhibitor, in this case, the digital exhibitor, which is Vudu. But I'm pretty sure it's the distribution company that sets those prices. I'm pretty sure. You should check that out for yourself, though. All right, what's next?
Okay, The Empire Strikes Back Street Boys writes a 2-parter. He gets Ray every time. "I watched Cinema Sins take on F9 while stoned as F, high as a kite. I knew how bad the film was, but not as bad until now. I saw it's awful through many dimensions. These characters truly are superheroes, but don't have the balls to come out of the closet directly with it, unlike Riverdale."
Well, look, let me just say this. Stuff like Cinema Sins and stuff like Pitch Meeting and things like that, right? Don't go off those things to determine whether a movie's great or not. They are specifically designed to poke fun at some of the things for our entertainment, right? That's why I love, like, some of the videos I love on Pitch Meeting the most are the movies that I really like and watching.
Oh, I'm opposite.
Really? Oh, I love.
Yeah.
I love watching him make fun of and roast the movies I really like. Oh yeah, it's great.
I saw the Guardians 3 one. I said, don't recommend this to me.
But you gotta have fun with it.
You seem
It's
like
fun.
a
It's meant in fun.
No.
That's what it's for. So anyway, I wouldn't ever consider, even though Fast X is a terrible movie,
I'd watch that one.
but but don't think that you can judge a movie based on what things like CinemaSins or whatever says. I mean, it's there for our entertainment, so don't take it too seriously. All right, what's next?
Although I saw that Peacock has F9, so I think I'm going to watch just the launch scene.
No, watch the whole thing. Because without context of the ridiculousness of the whole movie, you will not fully experience
I
it
couldn't even get to
unless
that
you
long,
watch the
so
whole
it
thing.
Doesn't matter.
All right, what's
All right,
next?
Dwayne Fernandez has a two-parter. Hi, there's an interview with Muschietti from the playlist saying that if a sequel happens, yeah, he thinks Ezra will return to play the Flash. Since he thinks Ezra played him so well, obviously he has no authority to decide that, but do you think that DC is leaning towards the move? If only we'd covered that.
Well, in case you weren't here for the first part, let me re-go over the whole first 20 minutes. No.
Now, to be fair, he sent that like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I just can't see James Gunn, particularly James Gunn, who went through the experiences that James Gunn went through with Disney and all that kind of stuff. I cannot see James Gunn having such an abject lack of wisdom, allowing Ezra Miller to continue playing Flash after this. Now, look, I don't know James Gunn. I mean, I've met James Gunn, but I don't know him personally. I won't speak for him. And James Gunn is going to do what James Gunn is going to do. And that's his right. He's the head of DC and he's earned it. But I choose to believe until I see otherwise that James Gunn won't go for this. That him and Peter are going to say nope and move on from there. But I mean, you never know. People are going to do what they're going to do. All right, what's next?
I mean, who needs Ezra when you have Justin Long?
Yeah, indeed.
Luke1234 writes, sometimes I feel like buying the movies I want and then start canceling my streaming service since a lot of the content on there I don't care for.
There's two problems with that philosophy, though. Problem number one is, well, then you're going to be spending a lot of money.
It gets expensive.
The second problem with that is you're never going to discover anything new. I mean, one of the great things about having Netflix or Max or Peacock is that sometimes I'll just go on there and I'll discover something, right? If all you do is buy the things you already like, it's going to become very, very difficult to discover new stuff. So, I mean, look, there are pros to doing that as well. You do what works for you. I'm just saying for me and somebody like me, there would be too many drawbacks to that approach. All right, what's next?
All right. Bry Guy writes, was Ezra's performance as Barry a character-defining performance like RDJ as Iron Man or Reynolds as Deadpool? If not, they should recast.
Yeah, I would tell you this. Even if it was, they should recast. Doing the right thing is not determined by how well did you do that job. You did it great? Then who cares you were caught with 5 keys? I mean, and that's not what I'm saying happened to Ezra. I'm just saying. But no, as Ezra is great in this role, absolutely great. But even there are other performances that are great. Like for me, Henry Cavill is great as Superman. But even I wouldn't say that Henry Cavill as Superman is on the same level as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Like those are the 3 comic book movie roles that I think it's like those 3 people were born to play those roles. Ezra's fantastic as Flash, but not on the level as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Ezra is so good in this film where if none of that stuff happened, I would be so looking forward to the next one.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, that's all I got.
Yeah.
And if this does last we ever see from him for a while, especially on the screen, it's a good movie to leave off of. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. What's next?
Kyle Schneider, who writes, Planes is not a... Yeah, I know. I meant to say that earlier. Planes is not a Pixar movie. It's just a knockoff.
No, it's not a knockoff. Disney did it.
It's Disney, not
Pixar.
Pixar.
Yeah, it is Disney. So, I mean, they are under the same umbrella. And when it was made, don't forget this as well. When it was made, John Lasseter was both the head of Pixar Animation and the head of Disney Animation. At the same time, he held both jobs. So you're right. Technically speaking, it was a Disney, Planes was a Disney animation film, but it was really a Pixar spinoff. But you are right. By the letter of the law, you are absolutely right.
Yeah. I was going to qualify that, but we moved off the topic too quick.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn writes, do you still think Indy 5 is making $1 billion? I don't.
No. I mean, not with the responses that it's getting. That's going to take a lot of wind out of the sails. I mean, look, never say never. Of course it's possible. But do I think it's likely now? Nope. Unfortunately, no, I do not, unfortunately.
You know what's making $1 billion? Transformers: Rise of the Billions. I'm not saying that.
Good if it's good enough.
Out of all the movies coming out, I actually think Transformers might be the one that gets the highest, makes the most money.
I think it might be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I'm going with Transformers.
I hope you're right. I hope it's because listen, the first reactions to it are really good. So I mean, yeah, let's see. All right, what's next?
Support from that geeky girl.
Thank you, that geeky girl. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and then Amin writes, Holly Bailey. Even when I read it, I still want to
Halle
say
Bailey. Halle
Why
Bailey.
get the sigh at?
because I had to like.
You want to
literally-
see Halle Berry? Is
Yeah,
what
I
you
had
want
to make
say.
my brain not say it. All right, or my mouth, or Rachel Zegler. Who is the better singer and who is the better actress? And whose next project are you more looking forward to? The Color Purple or New Hunger Games? Honestly, probably Color Purple.
Okay, so the one part of that question that's easy is the better singer. That's Halle Bailey.
Oh yeah.
Rachel Zegler's a fantastic singer. Make no mistake about it. Halle Bailey's a better singer. Who's the better actress? There's not a big enough sample size to tell.
Jury's out still.
Yeah, jury's out on that. We'll find out. What am I looking forward to more? Oh, I'm definitely looking forward more to The Color Purple. The difference is Halle Bailey is playing a smaller supporting role, whereas Rachel Zegler is one of the stars of the film.
Oh, I actually thought it was reverse. I thought.
Yeah,
No. Halle Bailey. Because remember, when Oprah brought out the cast of Color, she wasn't there. I mean, she's kind of more of a side character in it. So who's going to be the better actress overall? That it's way too early to tell. Too small of a sample size. And I'm certainly not going to judge Rachel on her short appearance in Shazam 2. Like there wasn't enough there to do.
She's going to get nominated for that.
Yes.
MTV's looking at her right now.
The MTVs.
They're going to find some way to nominate her.
All right, listen, guys, before we finish off and get through all the balance of our questions, we are going to take one more break. I was going to take it a little bit later, but we'll take it now. We're going to take one more quick break before we finish off our things to thank two more sponsors of our show here today, the good folks over at Rocket Money and the aforementioned Ryan Reynolds, his company, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that. If you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check. With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want and don't even use. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button. My wife Ann and I moved out of Burbank 2 years ago, and one of the first things I discovered when I loaded up Rocket Money was that I was still paying for a gym membership I haven't even been to in Burbank in 2 years. So stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Rocket Money and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. By the way, guys, don't forget, when you support and check out our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So if you go down to the description of this video, you'll find links and promo codes to all of today's sponsors. And thank you again to Rocket Money and Mint Mobile. All right, with that down, let's get through the rest of your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up next?
All right, Murray Reich writes, I saw your video on MoviePass. I was wondering, do you still have to be at the theater to purchase tickets, or can you pre-order beforehand? Also, it would be nice to see movies in all formats for a small add-on fee.
As far as needing to be at the theater, I think you still have to do that. And you know what? That is the right move for them to do. Otherwise, like here's the thing. Remember, MoviePass has to pay the movie theaters $10 every time you use MoviePass to buy a ticket. Or no, not like whatever the ticket price is.
Right.
So if the movie you're going to is $15, they got to pay the movie theater $15. So what they want to do is have something in place to make sure you're actually there at the movie theater and you're using this. Otherwise, you could just be sitting at home. Yeah, buy me a ticket to that movie. And then you never go. And meanwhile, they're paying the movie theater, right? So it's not an unreasonable thing for them to do that, to say, hey, I'm actually here at the theater. The GPS show, the app shows that I'm here at the theater. Buy the ticket. I think it's a totally reasonable safety thing. As far the add-on prices, that is a little difficult for them to employ because it's one thing for Regal to do it because it's Regal's own theaters. To try to figure that out and work it out with all the different theaters for add-on prices, it gets a little bit more complicated. I mean, it would be nice, but honestly, listen, the new MoviePass system is actually quite good. And I say this who is the world's #1 anti-MoviePass evangelical online for a couple of years. Nobody was more against MoviePass or did more to put a light on their pretty much criminal behavior, acting like a mob. But this new MoviePass under this new ownership and what they're doing, I think there's some really interesting potential there. All right, what's next?
All right, so we've got Jake Clark who writes, also did it with Spacey in, admittedly, I don't know that. And
guys, please don't write in acronyms for our show. Please don't.
And WB have 6 months and the money reshoot Mara's scenes in Aquaman 2 with Deborah Ann Wall. Oh, I think that's the one where he plays the, yeah, I know.
All the money in the world.
Yeah, all the money, yeah.
Okay, so bring up the question again. Guys, again, please do not write in acronyms. Also, they did it with Spacey and have 6 months with money reshoots. No, it's an idiotic thing to do. There's no reason to replace her in the movie. She's in the movie. It's a character, guys. Get over yourselves. It's a character in a movie. And it was shot. It's done. She was already in the first. And she's a minor character here. Listen, Aquaman is going to have a hard time breaking even anyway. Why would they drop $15 million more? Why would they drop $15 million more? And don't compare the situation with the Kevin Spacey situation. The Kevin Spacey was literally facing rape allegations. All right. Let's not, they're not equal. They're not the same thing. So they'll do the movie, they'll get it done, then they'll move on. And by Jason Momoa probably won't be Aquaman anymore either. You don't have to worry about it after this movie. And the reality too is this. And with all the crying and complaining, saying, I'm not going to see this movie if she's in it, it's actually represents a very, very tiny segment of the movie-going population. So if you're Warner Brothers, why would you lose more money to do that? It makes no sense. Besides, she's not going to be Mara anymore after this movie anyway. So what's the point? If you're Warner Brothers, why would you drop millions and millions and millions of more dollars? With the Kevin Spacey situation with all the money in the world, it was a much easier thing. It was a very small role, and There was no visual effects needed, right? It's not like it was a visual effects heavy film. You're talking about having to do a lot. It just, there's no point to it. Just let the movie come out and then everybody moves on. And then we'll leave it at that. All right, what's next?
Okay, Red Comet writes, do you think the Fast films need Chris Morgan? I feel like once he stopped writing for the series after Hobbs and Shaw, there was a noticeable change.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, look, look, all film is subjective. Fast 9 has its fans, and I respect that. I thought Fast 9 was a garbage movie, but I have all the respect in the world. Other fans, my fellow fans who watched it and enjoyed it, great. But in my opinion, yes. Yeah, it would be nice if they went back to that particular writer. All right, what's next?
Balky writes, I'm in the OC, and the audiences here are fairly muted and feel like casual moviegoers. Which theaters in LA or OC consistently have lively crowds that are really into it?
It really depends on the movie, right? It depends on the movie because every audience you see is a different collection of people, right? You could go to 8 movies, 8 nights in a row and never have one similar person in any of those 8 screenings that you're in. This is a giant city. So it's not, but I will say this. AMC Burbank 16,
Yep.
usually pretty lively. The AMC Century City is usually pretty lively.
Yeah.
The Regal Stadium that's right down by the Staples Center. I mean, I've only been to a couple movies there, but both times were fairly lively.
As long as you're there on the opening, you know, my Filipino.
As long as you're there.
As long as you're there at the opening night. No, as long as you're there on opening night or at the midnight ones, or like the ones that are
Yeah,
like
the
day
midnight
before,
ones, you just get the rowdy
because
audiences
those
out.
people have stayed up and are excited, just as excited as you are. There's a good chance that you're going to be in with a good crowd. So that's from my
And by the
experience.
way, a good crowd starts with you.
Oh,
Go.
the more you know. Ding.
G.I. Joe. Listen,
Wrong.
Remember.
Wrong reference.
a lively audience starts with you. Get out there, have some fun. Like, don't be disruptive to other people.
Yeah.
Don't be one of these obnoxious. By the way, there is more than people who let their phones go off, more than a pack of girls who keep talking. Nothing irritates me more in a movie than somebody who thinks they're a comedian and is constantly yelling out what they think is a funny joke. Oh, you read it. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, someone did that.
And then, oh, dude, I've been in movie theaters where it's always got that one
Was it
guy
me?
who who maybe, usually you. It's usually you. But like, who will yell out something, and God forbid if the first thing they yell out is actually kind of funny and they hear some people laugh. 'Cause
Oh
now they
my
think,
God.
oh, now everybody thinks I'm funny. I'm going to keep it going. The show's on. And then they do it 3 or 4 more times. It's like, somebody just shut that guy up. Anyway, please don't be that person. But go ready to have a good time. Like, if something was funny, laugh. If something was exciting, you feel like jumping out of your chair, jump out of your chair. Just remember, a good audience member, a good crowd starts with you. All right, what's next?
All right. I wanted to thank Sylvis the Slayer, who just gifted a membership.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
And then we've got Zach Taylor, who with a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Zach, very much, man.
I don't know why I said that.
Took my nephew to see Mario 2 weeks ago, and they played 2 trailers. And after the third to sixth trailer, he was laughing and was saying, "Another one? That's pretty sad and funny." Same thing when I took him to Little Mermaid. Get used to it, kid.
Yeah. Look, it's my personal crusade to try to get movie theaters, and maybe we need to actually do some organizing to get movie theaters like AMC theaters and others to cut down on the amount of damn trailers they play. Again, I love trailers. I made a whole documentary about them, but
Which you could see on.
which you can see on Amazon. Go over to Amazon, search for movie trailers, a love story today, and go and watch that thing. Go rent it. But we did do a part in our documentary about the sheer length of trailers. Like, when you're talking about a play, you're telling people that a movie starts at 7 and then you make them watch 30 minutes of commercials. And that's what a trailer is. A trailer is a commercial. You make them watch 30 minutes of commercials. And then the CEO of Paramount made a great point at CinemaCon last year. The head of Paramount came out on stage and said, movie theaters, please, because he was talking to all the movie theaters, reduce the number of trailers you play, because you're playing so many trailers that audiences don't even remember what trailers they watched. It's not effective. And, in our trailer, we quoted a study. I think it was out of Variety, Jonathan. We quoted a study that Variety did. I think they interviewed X number of moviegoers, and they said, how many movie trailers is to you is a good amount of movie trailers? 0, 1 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to whatever. When you got up to like the 10 trailers thing, which is what a lot of showtimes have over 10, 0. Nobody thought that was a good amount of trailers. The biggest response was 1 to 3. That was the number one answer from moviegoers, was 1 to 3 trailers is acceptable. So I really hope at some point they fix this.
Do the theaters decide how many trailers play,
Yes.
or the studios?
Theaters decide.
Okay. We don't want no CinemaCon showcase.
Because
playing.
ArcLight cinemas, they had a rule. 3 trailers and the movie starts. That was their rule. And I just think more movie theaters, look, we are in a position right now where the movie theaters, we're still in the post-pandemic era. Movie theaters are trying to get the audiences back. You get the audiences back. I know this is rocket science. You get audiences back by giving them the best experience possible. And you are fucking the experience up right out of the fucking gate when you make people who pay $20 for a fucking ticket to sit there and watch a half hour of commercials. You are screwing people's movie-going experience right off the bat. Right away, you fucked their experience.
Especially if you're watching an 4DX. My ass was hurting before
Before the movie
before
started.
Tom Cruise got it in that F 18, 19?
F18.
But look, this is for Adam Aaron. You fucking moron. You idiot. You are the CEO of AMC Theaters. It's not fucking rocket science. You want people to come to your theater, give them a better experience. You are doing the antithesis of that by showing them 30 fucking minutes of trailers before the goddamn movie starts. You're a moron. It doesn't, a 4th grader could do your job better than you. It just reduce the number of trailers you play. It's not that hard. People will have a better time. Studies have been done. Audiences do not want 30 minutes of trailers. You don't need 4 degrees like my wife to figure out, well, good, maybe we should play less trailers. You think? You've got studio heads on stage at CinemaCon begging you to reduce the number of trailers you're playing. You want to get the audiences back? Start paying goddamn attention to your audiences. Anyway,
Jonathan,
sorry.
you want to follow that up? Also, who asked this question? I would like them to be removed from the channel.
Sorry. I get hot about this.
I know you
because
do.
I
I know
love
you
the
do.
movie going experience, and I want more people
my-
to partake in the movie going experience. It's going to church for me. I love it. And I'm sorry, this gets me kind of pissed off when I think about this topic. Because I know people in my life who say they stop going to more movies because they hate sitting through all the trailers. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, I get a little hot on that one. What's next?
A little.
Frankly, I don't remember. Jaden Voss. I really can't get over how amazing Reality on Max with Sydney Sweeney was. Top 15 of the year for me.
I've never even heard of it.
Me either, but Sydney
Never even
Sweeney-
heard of it.
Yeah.
Now, usually HBO, and I'll still call them HBO, usually HBO is much, much better at making sure people know about their programming coming, not like Netflix. Netflix is the worst in the world at letting people know of new stuff coming on their platform. But I hadn't even heard of this one. I might have to check it out. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it either. We've got support from Nora LS. Thank you. And then I think our final super chat, I just want to make sure. Yeah, our final super chat is from Idzante. Do theaters lose money if they play less trailers or something?
No.
Oh my God.
No, and that's a fair question, right? That is actually a fair question because that's normally we did a study on this when we were back at when we were doing Collider Movie Talk. We broke down the average of and it's basically nothing. It literally works out to pennies per movie ticket that's sold. And I get it. Like, on the one hand, movie theaters want to play more trailers because they've got a captive audience, and you really are captive. They've got a captive audience that you can promote. Hey, plan on coming back to our theaters. I understand that base motivation. Show them all this stuff. Say, look at all the stuff we got coming to our theaters, and you'll want to come back. And all. I get that. But at some point, enough is enough. I'm not saying you even have to do what ArcLight does. When ArcLight was 3 trailers, then the movie. I'm not even saying you have to do that, but maybe 4 trailers, maybe 5. But at some point, it's too much. Recognize that. Stop. Like a good glass of wine. Maybe you shouldn't have 9. It's time to hit pause. Hit pause and move on.
I only
Anyway.
have one gripe. Can we get Nicole Kidman to stop watching Creed 1? There's a Creed 3.
Oh,
Stop watching Creed 1.
That is the
new
thing that
commercial's
makes me
coming.
had to work most when I watched that. Creed 1. Come
The
on.
new commercial's coming, Ray. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, they got the sequel coming out. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here and making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, except maybe the movie trailers one. I promise I will stop going off on such a huge. I just get really worked up about it. Sorry. So thank you so much for supporting this channel, guys, and thanks for being here. Don't forget, guys, we have a podcast, the John Campea Show podcast, that's out every day. Go and find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. It is best experienced in the podcast. We have been making our transition over to that. But hey, listen, if you just like hanging on the YouTube channel, we do upload it to the YouTube channel as well. The audiogram, it's up there. You can see it there. But the better experience is on podcast. So go check it out there. Make sure you come back. We got a bunch more videos planned for tomorrow. We're looking forward to seeing you. So for Ray Ora, Jonathan Voico, my name's John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Until next time, my friends, trailers.